Morning, President Johnson. My name is Joe Ramstead, and I am a member of the Student Affairs Division, and I am looking forward to sharing an outlined strategy that we have for designing and implementing the search committee for the loss of our beloved Vice President of Student Affairs. To get started with our brief roadmap for the day, after this brief introduction and overview, we'll go into discussing what the search committee is, along with the organization, key desires, and rationale for each individual selection to our search committee. We'll discuss the traits of this new leader within our division. We will discuss the leadership challenges that this new individual will be inspired to address within the position. We'll discuss a brief recruitment strategy and recruitment efforts, and then we'll have time for question and answer along with reflection and critique of the presentation. To get started, we recognize that a search committee is super critical in order to hire the best possible individual for this position. In an interview that was had with Dr. Amy Smith in the University of Minnesota, she was able to provide me with some insights and some ideas and strategies for how to go about selecting the search committee. And when you tasked me with this opportunity, I wanted to make sure that I was doing enough research in order to generate the best possible proposal to share with you today. First, I suggest having the president of student affairs, along with 4 individuals representing 4 different divisions of the student affairs in terms of their leadership. This could be anywhere ranging from the dean of students all the way to Greek life. So 1 individual from each of those 4 different divisions, 2 current students, 1 additional college administrator at large, and of course, 2 faculty members at large to represent the different opinions of the teaching staff and researchers that are on campus. Each of these individuals serve a key rationale and purpose, which we'll talk about here momentarily. When looking at the anticipated key desires of each of these different individuals, looking up to this new leader of Vice President Student Affairs, we recognize that there are some different competencies and traits that these leaders will need to possess. These different competencies and traits were selected from the AACC, AASCU leadership competencies, along with Rubin et al. Text. The president of student affairs and division representatives are going to value the leader in terms of their ability to create a positive climate for all, resource development in terms of human resources and fiscal resources, and resilience. We know that there's been a lot of challenges that have been faced within this position, and a lot of creativity has been stifled in recent years. So we want to make sure that we hire an individual who's going to be resilient through those challenges and have the ability and stamina to get back up when they're told no or when there are challenges that arise. We want to make sure that current students are able to be voiced within this search process as well. And we know that they are going to value integrity, having a servant leadership mindset in terms of what this new leader is going to be able to possess. They're going to value a leader who's going to be able to problem solve for them. And also, of course, formal and informal communication skills, being able to relay important information to students so they feel valued and included every step of the way, because this individual is representing students as the Vice President of Student Affairs. Additionally, college administrators and faculty members are going to be critical to have within this search committee, and they're going to be looking to this person for continuous self-development, strategic vision, and adversity leadership, especially during times of challenges. We know in the past several years there have been challenges outside of the global pandemic, of course, that have caused for a lot of tension and problems within our college. So being able to be open-minded and navigate through solutions to prevent these problems and also solve any problems that have happened will be very critical within the position. I also recommend sending out a stakeholder survey to individuals that might not be represented formally within the committee to gather ideas of different competencies and skills that they see within this new leader. So why are these individuals on the committee? Each of these groups of individuals provide unique and valuable perspectives. And in talking through this proposal with Dr. Amy Smith, we do recognize that diversity should be a key area of emphasis, including race, gender, and socioeconomic. We recognize that diversity has been a challenge within our college, so we want to ensure that we have diversity within our own search committee so that our leader that is going to be interviewing for this position recognizes that and recognizes the need for diversity within our college. We also recognize that having too many people makes it very difficult to coordinate an equitable search process. It's important that we make sure that we involve every single person on the search committee in every interview round and with every candidate. So although we'd love to have more individuals serving on the search committee, we limited it to the amount that we have simply because we want to make sure that everybody is included and not excluded. We also recognize that there are alternative ways to engage individuals of influence within the search process, whether it be through that stakeholder survey or having different presentations that the candidates offer that students are able to pop in and out of to provide feedback. We can discuss more about what the actual process would look like a little bit later, but these are the ideas that we have for who should be on the search committee. Next, we needed to consider what are the traits of this individual that we're going to be selecting. On the left-hand side over here, we see the competencies that are backed up by the AAC and the AASCU and Rubin et al. But on the right-hand side, we also extrapolated a couple of key competencies that are not necessarily published within those publications that we recognize as a student affairs division as important. Of course, we have inclusivity because we recognize that diversity is a very big need within our college. We want to have an individual who's going to be progressive and able to transform ideas and goals into reality. And that kind of leads into transformative as well, coming up with innovative ideas and solutions for any problems that are faced. And of course, someone who's energetic, somebody who's going to love coming to work each day and love representing and being a voice for different students and faculty members. These are all key traits that we feel will be necessary to identify within the leader and should be tied to different interview questions or rounds that we develop for each of the different candidates. So leadership challenges that will need to be addressed with this new individual. First and foremost, we have race and a lack of diversity. The individual that we select doesn't necessarily need to tell us who is here. They need to tell us who is not here. We need to have people who are going to be open-minded and willing to bring in alternative perspectives and beliefs and opinions to ensure that everybody has a place at the table and ensure that they provide an adequate sense of representation and belonging for every group and every individual and every background to the fullest extent possible. We also recognize that student retention has been a major challenge within our college. We want to make sure that this new individual is going to be able to solve that challenge by providing opportunities for student mentorship on campus with faculty members, stakeholders, community members, alumni. They're going to need to be a really strong relationship builder and resource allocator, both human resources and also different physical resources to help students get through their college experience and also enjoy their college experience. Alcohol use is also a major challenge that we're facing on campus. So we need to find an individual who is going to be experienced with preventative and reactive measures when dealing with alcohol and experience leading substance use educational efforts because that is a very major need within our campus right now. And finally, student involvement and engagement. Because we have challenges with student retention over the 4 years, it's important to recognize that we need to better involve and engage our students. So we need to hire an individual who's going to be eager to listen to students and be a strong voice and advocate for them. When we're thinking about the individual that we're going to be recruiting, we need to be very intentional about how we're doing this from the beginning until the time that the individual signs their contract. As we write that position description, we want to make sure that it is very specific and detail oriented so as to recruit an individual who's going to be excited and driven by what we have to offer as a college. We want to make sure that the search committee and other academia review it to make sure that it is written correctly and also will appeal to candidates. Then, of course, we need to start recruiting prospective candidates. We want to cast a wide net. It's not necessarily the best to look internally to fill this position because while that internal candidate will have some additional background and knowledge about our college, we do recognize that we need additional new creative ideas, but we need a transformative leader. So casting a wider net and reaching out to different individuals will be very helpful and beneficial for us to really solve some of the different challenges that we've offered. We also want to have targeted recruitment efforts. Don't just have a number of people that we're trying to get, but try to specifically recruit individuals who will be good for the position and state why they're desired and why we want them on campus. And then, of course, as we fly in candidates, we want to make sure that the interview experience is great while they're on campus and make sure that we're transparent in expectations for before, during, and after the interview process. As we reflect and critique these different ideas that we have for this search committee, we recognize that all voices matter in this decision. That's why we have a variety of different individuals who are involved within the search committee. We recognize that this is not a one-size-fits-all approach. The way that we recruit the vice president of student affairs is going to be different than how we recruit, say, a faculty position within the college. Personally, as I take a step back and reflect on the presentation that I prepared for you today, I recognize that I value communication and relationships, and hopefully that is evident within this presentation. But there may be some additional fiscal responsibilities that I was not able to really understand or carry through with this particular presentation here today. My personal involvement with Greek life as a college student also resonates within this presentation, and I want to make sure that our students have a safe and positive Greek life experience. I'm a first generation college student, so I'm able to offer that different perspective as I develop this presentation. And of course, I value having full representation, especially of students within this committee, having been a teacher and educator myself. I do recognize that I have limited experience with hiring processes, but I'm excited to learn and be involved in the next steps. After we've gone over our roadmap for today, you can see these wonderful references that we have here for you to reflect on. Thank you for your time, and I now am open to any questions that you have.